It's one of the world's holiest sites, and recent weeks have once again seen a rise in tensions as the holy month of Ramadan coincided with the Jewish holiday of Passover. The number of Jewish religious ultranationalist groups entering the site has increased. Some are part of the Temple Mount movement, whose members call for the right to pray on the site. The incursions are protected by Israeli forces and seen by Palestinians as a major provocation.
What would take place in small groups and respectfully is now being done in larger groups, and more provocative, more defiant, and more humiliating for the Muslim worshippers there.
And this is what it's all about, the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, or Temple Mount, as it's known to Jews, where certain hours are allocated during the week where non-Muslims can enter. But under a long-standing agreement between Israel and Jordan, which is the custodian of the site, only Muslims can pray there. However, over the years, there's been an increase in the number of Jewish religious ultranationalists entering the site, calling for the right to prayer and actively attempting prayers there. And that's seen as a gradual erosion of the long-agreed status quo. According to the Islamic Waqf, the Jordanian religious trust that runs the site, the number of Jewish religious ultranationalists who accessed the site in the past year was the highest so far. Many try to pray and are sometimes removed by Israeli police.
This is the weaponization of faith and religious pyromania. In recent years, that status quo has begun to erode, and Israeli policies under Netanyahu became, I would say, more permissive. There was turning a blind eye to quiet prayer and then more demonstrative prayer.
Rami works for the Islamic Waqf and says he has witnessed the same thing. He was injured by Israeli police while documenting what happens in the compound.
The police are turning a blind eye to these prayers. These groups call for invasion with huge numbers. They say the site's theirs and they must demolish the Dome of the Rock and build their temple instead. This is how they think, and this is what's causing the escalation and triggering the conflict.
Raphael is a member of the Temple Mount movement who we met earlier this year in an illegal outpost in the occupied West Bank.
So now I'm not allowed to go to Jerusalem.
At the time, he was considered a security risk by Israel's internal security services, the Shin Bet, and banned from entering Jerusalem's old city.
Maybe the police don't like what I do. Maybe it provokes the police and the country, because we want to go to the Temple Mount. We want to, that it will be able just to walk there freely, that we won't be escorted by policemen, that we could pray whenever we want and where we want on the Temple Mount.
The growing Temple Mount movement is a concern to many Palestinians and Muslims across the Islamic world who say that al-Aqsa is a red line. Consecutive Israeli governments have maintained they have no intention of changing the situation, and Israel's Foreign Minister Yair Lapid on Sunday reiterated Israel's commitment to the status quo that only Muslims pray and non-Muslims visit. Events at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound can be linked to triggering the Second Intifada and also the most recent Gaza war last year. Nothing has the same ability to mobilize major protests and anger here at what's long been a volatile and emotionally charged religious epicenter. Stefanie, Dekker, Al Jazeera, Jerusalem.